I want everybody to repeat after me. Reparations now, in memory of our ancestors.
Our ancestors.
There's only two things left.
There are only two things left.
That's the truth
The truth
and reparations.
and reparations. Plural.
Trying to get this camera to stay steady. Hold on a second. Oh, come on. Okay, I think I got it. Anyway, I'm just gonna talk about a few points in the reparations program and try to talk about some history, some strategies, and some goals and objectives, and I'll give you all a few references. Let's start off with the history, and to really shine the light on how things are going with us today and how they got to be that way in the first place. There are three historical documents that you must access and read to get the full understanding. The first is the Doctrines of Discovery, which was put forth by Pope Nicholas V of the Catholic Church in 1452. And that gave explorers the right to go into foreign lands, which was more times than not where people of color and Black people lived, to subjugate them to the Christian doctrine. And if they didn't acquiesce and go along with it, they were usually killed. This is like a practice that's still going on today with the United States and other European countries, where they go into these different places like Haiti and, just run roughshod over the people and destroy their economy and things like that. The second document would be the Dred Scott case. Now, if you heard about the Dred Scott case, it ended with Dred Scott and his wife losing that battle, which had taken place over an 11-year period. The final decision was put together by the Supreme Court, and the presiding judge by the name of Roger B. Taney came out in part with a decision that said that Dred Scott could not sue his master for reparations because, number one, he wasn't a citizen, being enslaved and African, and that Black people had no rights that white people were bound to respect. So, that is the Dred Scott case. And that thinking is still in effect to this day. So the next is the 10 precepts of American slavery jurisprudence. So I just want to take a minute and read a little bit of this to you so that you can see just what I'm talking about as far as the 10 precepts. And this was a document put together by Judge Leon Higginbottom when he was doing a critique of the Dred Scott decision. But the 10 precepts are based on how you should deal with the inferiority, the inferiority of Black people seen as property, keeping them powerless, talk about racial purity, which means no mixing with them in any way, manumission and free Blacks, the family, education and culture, religion, liberty and resistance, and by any means possible. So I'm just going to read a couple of the shorter ones because some of these are about a paragraph, and I don't have all that time. See, says inferiority, presume, preserve, protect, and defend the idea of superiority of whites and the inferiority of blacks. Property defines the slave as the master's property, maximize the master's economic interest, disregard the humanity of the slave except when it serves the master's interest, and deny slaves the fruits of their labor. Number 5 is limit and discourage manumission in order to minimize the number of free blacks in the state. Confine blacks to status as close as possible to slavery. Education and culture. Deny blacks any education, deny them knowledge of their culture, and make it a crime to teach those who are slaves how to read and write. Let's see. This is number 9. Limit blacks' opportunity to resist, bear arms, rebel, or flee, curtail their freedom of movement, freedom of association, and freedom of expression. Deny blacks the rights to vote and to participate in the government. And number 10 says support all measures, including the use of violence, which maximize the profitability of slavery, which legitimizes racism, oppose by the use of violence, if necessary, all measures that advocate the abolition of slavery and the diminution of white supremacy. So all that I read and the other ones that I didn't read are still in effect today in the thinking of the American government and some of the other Western powered governments. You know, as it stands, we are under attack all over the world, no matter where we are, you know, in what nation, you know, Black people are under attack, and we need to, you know, strategize ways to stop those attacks and work for our freedom and get our freedom. One area that we're going to talk about, I like to talk about, is who owes us reparations. Now, we're adding to the research of this area, talking about the Reparations United Front. My organization is now researching question of who owes us reparations. In coming weeks and months, we will research the railroads, cotton industry, tobacco, sugar, insurance industries, along with American colleges and universities and insurance companies. Currently, if you look at the YouTube, you can find a video, which is in 4 parts, by Professor Black Truth of B1 Moment of Truth Network. And he says that there is a 4-part video on who owes us reparations. So you can look that up and just look for the Moment of Truth B1. And some of y'all probably know about Professor Black Truth and his channel. Very good information all the time. So one thing is, like, we want to establish a complete definition, or I should say a definition, or a common definition of reparations that everybody can agree to. Because, you know, I guess, like, you know, depending on what organization that you're with and whatnot, each one has like a separate definition of what reparations is. And on previous presentations, I gave out a card, or showed a card that had what reparations is and what reparations is not. But the area of unjust enrichment, all these industries that I just named, using slave labor to build and maintain their fortunes and legacies. Research will look into identify individuals and families involved with these industries, and to identify how kidnapped and enslaved Africans they use, and for how long. All this research will be done to correctly ID who owes us reparations. Currently, there's a lot of activity going on around reparations across the nation, but particularly out here on the West Coast, we have the California Reparations Task Force, and there's also San Francisco recently had their reparations committee to come to the decision of somehow to give $5 million to each family that can prove that their ancestor was enslaved. And also here, and I'm not sure what it's going to come to, but Los Angeles now has a reparations commission, and they are just getting started. But like they don't have any work to produce and whatnot to show what they've been doing. As chairman of the Reparations Working Group, I propose that we meet and strategize on how to unify the reparations movement in cooperation with other reparations organizations, in COBRA and the National Reparations Commission, for example. In-person meetings, online meetings, and organized conferences continue to educate the general public on what reparations is in order to establish a unified definition. Movement needs a large complement of new and experienced soldiers to put in dedicated work to strengthen and sustain our movement for social, political, and economic justice. Reparations cannot be just about one-time payments. Received funds must also be used for community building, long-term, and last as long as the slave experience, civil rights movement, and everything that's going on with us today for the benefit of succeeding generations. In addition, we need to recruit a legal team, a legal arm to the movement, along with the media fight back committee. When we get enough evidence, we want to be able to file lawsuits to recover land stolen from farmers and others whose homes were placed on it. In addition, we want to file lawsuits to recover the funds from the Freedmen's Bank that was stolen after the Freedmen's Bank was closed. All the work we do should be declared in the names of ancestral spirits, Sister Callie House, and Queen Mother Moore, and John Willie Peoples, who was like the godfather of the reparations movement here on the West Coast. So a couple of references we have is a poem by Amir, and all these are available on YouTube, a poem by Amir Baraka called "Why Is We Americans?" And there is also a video by the brother Wise Intelligent, who is a member of the Poor Righteous Teachers, and he has a poem, I should say, he gives a talk on sacrifice zones. And part of the reparations that we get should be used to, get rid of the sacrifice zones and use that money that we get to build communities and neighborhoods that are viable and thriving, instead of just and continue to live in a sacrifice zone. And let's see, there's also, I don't know, well, anyway, to try to build unity, because without unity, we're not going to be able to do anything and make it last. We need to, number one, study the Nguzo Saba and the 42 Oracles of Ma'at. These are what I would call social contracts that people can use to run their families, build their neighborhoods and communities in a unified way. If we could just get everybody to get on the same page and work in the interest of our people. And that should be job number one. because if we don't unify, it's going to be over for us. Bottom line, you have to take, your time and really think about, the position where we're in today. It's really in a bad place. I said, we're really in a bad place. So, if you have any idea about what reparations is and you want to work with us, contact me through the Reparations United Front website for reparationsunitedfront.org. And in coming months and weeks and whatnot, I'm going to be trying to post some things on the Black is Back coalition website about reparations, just to give out some clarification and education on the whole reparations movement as a whole. Uhuru, build for unity.